Coming up on Wilkow, progressives know best that big government pot you paid into isn't really there to serve you. Also, disaster relief crews coming to New Jersey get turned away for not being union. And for each American added to the job rolls, we put 75 on food stamps. We're right, they're wrong. Wilkow starts now. It's Friday. Welcome to the program. I'm Andrew Wilkow. We are 4 days, counting 4 days from the presidential election, and whether the same stream media likes it or not, Northeast Coast voters are beginning to display their anger at big government. The social contract, fair share, doing your part, skin in the game, paying into the big pot, hope, change, forward. How's that working out for you? New York City is one of the highest taxed cities in America, where it costs $12 to cross the bridges and tunnels into the city from New Jersey. And a studio apartment, if you can find one, can cost over $2,000 a month. I want to show you a local news report. People in Lower Manhattan are now eating out of dumpsters. No, these people are not welfare recipients. They're taxpayers. So how is the billionaire progressive mayor, Mike Bloomberg, handling this? Well, he finally ended up canceling the New York City Marathon after sensible New Yorkers finally freaked out. But before that, he went on all day saying how he had to hold the New York City Marathon because it's good for the city. It's a tradition that New Yorkers enjoy. Great idea. But then you hear about things like this. How about this headline from the New York Post? Quote, "There's no way to get us up and running." The article talks about all the resources that were being thrown at this weekend's marathon, while there are still hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers without power. And I quote, "Two massive generators are being run 24/7 in Central Park to juice a media tent for Sunday's New York City Marathon. And a third backup unit sits idle in case one of the generators fails." These, 3 diesel-powered generators, right here's a picture, crank out 800 kilowatts. They're enough to power 400 homes in ravaged areas like Staten Island, the Rockaways, and downtown Manhattan. Heck of a job, Bloomy. Just make sure nobody's smoking in a bar or drinking a 16-ounce soda. Bloomberg, with his hemming and hawing, is positioning himself somewhere between former D.C. Mayor Marion Barry and former New Orleans Mayor Ray Nagin. Kind of makes you feel all warm and fuzzy about paying into big government, doesn't it? When government forces you to pay into a system that leaves you with less of your money, there is no guarantee you're going to get a return once you pay your taxes. The money becomes government's, and it's no longer yours. Look, this is not a call for nihilism or anarchy, but a limited government. Whenever the government inserts itself as a provider of services that were once provided by the market, or at least could be better provided by the private sector, it not only crowds out competition, it leaves you with fewer alternatives in situations like a natural disaster. And what is more depressing is every time we think an event occurs that should be a teachable moment, the lesson is forgotten once normal life is restored. What is also forgotten is that the people who populate big government rarely suffer alongside the people.
Is the government coming?
They're sending their mobile units tonight, right?
With gas? We need gasoline.
The Miller Field, right here.
With gasoline, you're going to bring food and gasoline and clothes?
There's going to be a food distribution right down on Father Capodanno. They put it in place now, but this afternoon we'll be there. There'll be food.
And gasoline to run generators. Bring us generators. Bring us something to get heat. We're going to die if we get killed with the weather. We're going to die. We're going to freeze.
This poor woman is waiting for government. Hey, did anybody else notice Senator Chuck Schumer standing there looking all sympathetic? Watch what happens next.
Don't leave us.
We won't. That's why we're here. I know what you're going through.
Yeah, he does. I know what you're going through. Really? Does he look like he was freezing? I mean, Chuck Schumer's idea of suffering is having a staffer's BlackBerry not be charged, or God forbid Starbucks runs out of pumpkin spice. Tell us, Senator Schumer, what have you gone without? I mean, what suffering have you been through? I'm sure the woman in the video, Donna Solee of Staten Island, would love to know. Now, people are actually fighting over gas. a man pulled a gun on another motorist at a gas station in Queens. 80% of New Jersey's gas stations are unable to sell gas. Drivers are waiting up to 6 hours in line, but hey, don't panic. All is fine. That's what New York Governor Andrew Cuomo says. Help is on the way. You people need to be patient. Now, out of my way. I've got to get inside and cozy on up. Progressives throw tantrums when big government is questioned in these situations. That is, unless they're not in charge. But when they are, as they are now, they all scream, "You're a socialist too if you take what is seen as a handout from the benevolent government." But it's not socialism when you pay and expect to receive. It's socialism when you don't pay and demand to receive. You thought you were being a good citizen, paying your fair share, and government would save you. This idea that we paid all this money into the pot to get nothing in return should rightly anger voters when they get the shaft. With all of that money that was paid in taxes, with the promise you could rely on government in a disaster, if you didn't have it confiscated from you, you might have been able to buy a generator or whatever provisions were needed. Again, we're not denying that there must be a government response, but it should only be for those who literally cannot provide for themselves. Get the government out of the way and allow the citizens the opportunity and expect them to be self-reliant. For liberals, though, there's a problem. You see, the problem with that is if we don't pay into the big pot, there is less for the government to redistribute. It needs the big pot. In the end, if they fail to secure you or comfort you,